Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. A little something different today. So for those of you chasing stage 3 power, you are going to need to upgrade your fuel pumps. So as well as the high pressure fuel pump at the front of the engine, we also have the low pressure fuel pump which sits in the tank. Now you can run stage 3 with the stock low pressure fuel pump, but it's almost maxing that fuel pump out. Fuel pumps do deteriorate over time, so what we're going to do is replace the stock fuel pump with an upgraded one, and that's going to give us a good fuel ceiling to comfortably supply the car with fuel. Now a lot of people go for the Walbro 450 litre per hour pumps on stage 3. I seen this on Bar-tek's website. This is a 590 litre per hour pump. Now Bar-tek assure me this will work with a stock fuel controller without any software tweaks. I have my doubts. I think we're going to need to tweak the software. So basically what we're going to do today, we've got this basket off eBay. I think it was 100 quid, something like that. And then we're going to drill into the plastic underneath, separate this fuel basket, remove the stock fuel pump, and install this new one. Now we are going to need to make a few adjustments to this basket because the new pump is considerably taller than the stock pump. This means this basket here is going to actually sit lower. So what happens is, because the plastic casing's higher, things like your fuel sender is going to foul on the side of the plastic, and yeah, we need to make a few incisions here and there, but I'm going to go through all that anyway. So yeah, tools we need. A lot of people use a Dremel to cut that. I have got a handy tool. I mean, it looks a bit overkill, but this is going to allow me to precisely cut out my incisions. Allen keys. There's a new cage on this which is going to replace the stock cage. I think it's a 6 or 8mm Allen key to tighten that up. Obviously a drill to drill the basket off. Now you're going to need a 6.5mm drill bit and an 8mm drill bit, and again we'll go through that. And then we're going to need a large screwdriver, because once you break the plastic weld, it might not just come out straight away. So if you just sort of prise the pump out, you know, a lot longer screwdriver you got, the better. What else? So you are going to need a crimping electrical connector kit, because what you have to do is cut these wires from the old fuel pump, and then when the new fuel pump goes in, we're going to have to, you know, reconnect those wires to the car. So anyway, without further ado, let's do this. So here we go. So there's going to be a little bit of fuel in here, excess fuel. So I'm going to do is turn the basket upside down. There's actually nothing coming out actually. Right, so what I'm going to want to do is drill out these plastic welds. So there's 1, 2, 3, and what this is going to do is separate the pump housing from the actual basket. So actually, first of all, if you remove this little collet here, this is going to allow us to remove this top bit. There we go. Let's keep that there because we're going to want to need that later. Right, we just need to drill these plastic welds out now. Don't go too deep, you'll just feel it pop. So, as you can see, this is where the plastic welds are. Now I made a little bit of an error really, because what I should have done really is drilled in first with a 6.5mm drill bit from the top, and then I believe it's an 8mm from the bottom. As you can see, these are the bolts that you get with the kit. It's going to sit flush in there, and then over that we're going to have a spacer. This is just to lift the pump to give it clearance to sit flush on the base of this basket. But as you can see at the moment, we've got a little bit of well, quite a large burr actually. where this spacer is going to sit. So what I need to do is go and get a Stanley knife and just trim these edges so this can fit flush. Anyway, so next thing we need to do, so as I said, I'm just going to trim the burrs on that. In fact, let's get this off. So the siphon filter here, this thing, obviously because the pump is higher up, the siphon needs to be higher up. So we have this bad boy that goes in there. Now, what I'm told is you really need to make sure that this is pushed down tightly against this lip here. But we'll do that later. So what I'm going to go and do now is get a Stanley blade and try my best to trim that. It's going to be a bit awkward trying to do it from here, I guess. But I've cleaned the basket out. You can see it's a lot better. There's no debris in there. And then after we've done that, we're going to remove this pump. So there's a little cage that is seating the pump in place. So I believe we can just prise that out. So this whole thing's going to come off. And then in the kit we have this cage here, which is going to be fitting over the top of the pump even. So I'm probably going to need to just loosen that a bit. So now this is going to sit here against that. You can see the difference here, which is why in the kit they give you a spacer, obviously to get that clearance so it'll sit in the pump flush. So right, so I'm going to go and grab a Stanley blade, sort this out, and then when we come back I'll take this off. Okay guys, so welcome back. So what I've done, just got a Stanley blade and I've just taken the sort of burrs, well there's a little bit still stuck in there actually. Make sure there's no debris in there. So now these spacers can fit flush nicely now. There we go. So next thing is we're going to take this pump out. Now if you look at these wires, obviously we're going to need to connect these wires to these. Now they put black and black, which isn't very helpful at all, but if you look closely on the pump, it does say, I don't know if you can see that, plus. So you got obviously your positive and your negative there. So what I'm going to do is just remember my positive is on the left and my negative is on the right as we look at it. So positive, negative, that's how we're going to orientate it. I mean obviously the connections are here. So that's power to the pump. So we just need to, well, first of all, take the sock off. So I believe this just unclips. Now we're going to be doing away with this cage, so you can be quite rough with it. And that's it. And then what we're going to do, just cut these wires. I'm sure I brought some cutters in with me. Now when I'm cutting wires, I always leave a bigger length as I can. And if it needs to be shorter, you've got a lot to play with it. I mean, it would help if I actually had proper wire cutters, wouldn't it? There we go. So now this should just push out. So I'm going to grab it from this side. Just give it a bit of a push. Now you are going to have to pop the seal out of this part, so it is going to be quite stiff to get out. There we go. Oh, what have we got there? Well, I see. It's on the negative of the pump. We've actually got this wire, this little red wire here. Now, I haven't actually got a spare one of that in my kit, so I need to be careful while I get that off. There we go. So now we've got the pump out. So again, if you look at the difference, where it's going to sit in, quite a big difference there, isn't there? So what it looks like we're going to need to do as well, because this is different to this, is just trim it down and actually try and get a good fit in. Now there is a little O-ring in here, and we have got one in the kit. Now it depends on how old the pump is, you could probably reuse that, but seeing as though we've got a new one, might as well use that. So I'm just going to take that out. I mean, that one actually looks a little bit bigger, doesn't it? Does it? Yeah, a tiny bit. That might have swelled with the fuel though. So yeah, so now what we've got to do is a little bit of cutting by the looks of it, and get this to the same size. Otherwise it's not going to sit in there properly. So, one thing I noticed we do have on the kit is this little spacer. Now this is going to sit over here, over the top, so it's going to sit on this bottom bit. So I reckon I'm going to lob this off here, this top bit, with my handy tool, and see how much that gives us. So sorry, apologies for this. This is going to be noisy again. Here we go. So this little collet is going to sit over it. It can't actually sit flush actually, because if you look, this is in the way. So I wonder if it sits like that. That looks right, doesn't it? I assumed it would be the other way. And then obviously on over the top of that goes our O-ring. Now I'm going to take this plastic cage off, because we don't need this anymore. So there we go, that's that out. So now this pump is going to go in like so. Yeah. So it's slapping that. So on the PDF, which I'll bring up now, it actually says you need to cut across here. So I'm just going to look at the instructions now. So yeah, so if you see on here it says cut 5-6mm off the side of the pump housing as shown. So that's what we need to do next. So we're saying I need to cut that much off. So I'll put back out. Let's get me good old handy tool. So there we go. So I'm just going to clear this up. Get a Stanley blade. Just make sure we got no loose burrs on there. I'm going to want to put our sock on here now. There we go, if you get a wiggle, that's flush now. Just noticed, so although there's like 3 little grooves in here, you don't actually line this collet up to it. Reason being, this needs to be away from, I mean if you line it up, this moves to this position. What happens when you come to drop the pump in, this actually fouls against here, so that is the best position to be in. So you want it almost pointing at this hole here. So let's put this pump back in. Make sure it's nice and flush in there, so it's not going anywhere. In fact, I can actually see it's fouling a bit here, ever so slightly. So what I'm going to do is cut that just so this can sit a bit more flush. So it looks to me like it's going to be a problem. We're going to get to that though. I have to get my noisy tool out again. Imagine it doesn't have to be mega tight. Right, so that's the important step done. Oh, that's dirty, isn't it? What's that? Might take that off actually and give it a wash. Yeah, I'll give that a little wash out. Right, so next is the siphon. So this basically sits in the pump. Which way? This way, like so. So obviously because the pump's going to be higher up, we've got this bad boy. Like I said before, when this goes on, you want to really make sure that it's on good. There we go. So that is not going anywhere. So this we can put back in now. There we go, just clicks in like so. Now there is another tube on the S3s that comes up here. It just draws from the other side of the tank, so I believe it pumps fuel across into this. But that's just a pipe that drops down, so it's nothing to really worry about at this stage. It's just making sure this is nice and clean, no crap in there. There's a little bit in the bottom there which I'm going to get out. Really don't want any debris in there, do you? So the siphon tube's on. I am just going to clean this, so I'll be back in a moment. I don't know if you can see, there's a little bit of crap in there, so I'm going to see if I can flush it out with some water. And then we're going to reassemble the pump, and hopefully, touch wood, that'll be our pump complete. Okay guys, so what I've had to do, as well as trim this bit here, is just cut this bit out. So I've cut quite a big chunk out the side here. Reason being, when this fuel sender is in position, it was just fouling. Don't know if you can see that. It's just fouling the side. So, I mean, this pump has been in and out of this basket more times than Katie Price has been in and out of bankruptcy hearings, so hopefully this is the last time I have to put it in, and all should be okay. This is a bit of a pain in the arse actually to get in. So, small bolt, this is where we've cut it away here. This goes there. Another large one. And another large one at the back. Just make sure we got all that debris out actually. So there we go, we've got bolts in, so we just need to put our spacers on. Now we can put this bad boy in, and hopefully this will be the final time we put this in. So there we go, just make sure the siphon tube is on properly. And here's the finicky part now. There's my 10. That'll do. Let's try and get him on now. There we go, he's bit. Give him a little tighten. Alright, there we go. So now that basket's all secure. That isn't going anywhere. Siphon pump's on. So that's everything. So now we just need to join these wires up. Get a good crimp. Oh, look at that. I'll put that on the other side. So this now should go in without any trouble. He says. There we go. So that's our fuel sender in. As you can see, it's not catching anywhere. So now all that is left to do is put our collet back on. So there we go, there we have it. So now we've got a 590 litre per hour. So there we go guys, high pressure fuel pump tutorial, help, whatever you want to call it, done. Reason why I did this video is, again, I was looking for a video just like this. Couldn't really see one that went through step-by-step process. As I said, it took me about an hour and a half. I did have a few finicky things, getting the pump in and out. Just to make a few decisions, make sure everything's all right. But yeah, if you're new to the channel, please don't forget to like and subscribe. If you have any questions about this install for this pump, or if you want one doing, I mean, I'd quite happily do this again for someone, obviously for money. So if you are looking for a low pressure fuel pump upgrade, give me a shout, or check me out on my Instagram, which is woza_S3, so that's WOZA_S3. So yeah, next is to get this bad boy fitted, give it a test, and we'll see you in the next video.